Hello and welcome back to another show, another episode of the Final Flight podcast. We're here once again for our Cheltenham Anti-Post Countdown show and another fantastic guest on board with us tonight, Darragh Okeeffe. How are you this evening, my friend?
All good now, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming on and giving us your time. We really do appreciate it. We've had some cracking guests on so far, and you're right up there with the rest. So thanks again. Rich and Joe, obviously a decent-ish weekend over in Ireland and the UK. Did you both enjoy it, and have you had some winners?
Go on,
Yeah, it
Rich.
was good. Yeah, bit of a mixed bag, but on the winners' side anyway. But no, it was some good racing to be had.
You have a good one, Joe?
Yeah, defo, mate. Nice to see Shishkin back to somewhat of his best as well, wasn't it? So I know we'll get into that. But yeah, good weekend, mate. Some good racing in Ireland as well. Good stuff to chat about.
Yeah, like I say, what we like to do is review the weekend and then we'll come to you, Dar, if we can talk about a couple of your rides. You've had some decent ones lately and a couple of horses to follow, and then our anti-post picks, if that's all right. Right then, let's get cracking. And Dara, I'll come to you first if I can, mate. There's only really one place to start, and that's the Boyne Hurdle, Hidden Valley Lake. What did you think of that performance? Talk us through it.
Yeah, look, he was like last year. He was very impressive. Won nicely. He's made hurdle and ace, and then went to Cork and was very good as well. And I'd say he was his only disappointment last year was the Albert Bartlett, and he's a horse that's very lightly raced. I think the Boyne Hurdle was only his sixth run on the race course. So yeah, I think there's might be more improvement to come. Obviously, he tried his chasing career, but he fell at the third last in Navan in a pretty it was a pretty hot contest looking at it now. So and he was going to run a nice race. So yeah, we were delighted with him. I'd say he could step forward from it again, and yeah, who knows where he could end up.
Do you think he's got maybe a potential Cheltenham target, or do you think you might keep him over in Ireland? Potentially.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because obviously the owners do have Tihupu as well for the stairs hurdle, and possibly Irish Point as well. So I'm not sure whether they'll want another one or not. But I suppose they would have the targets here at Fairy House in Punchestown, and the option of entry as well. So I'm not sure whether he will line up in Cheltenham or not. But if he did, he'd add plenty of interest to the race like the stairs hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed. Like I say, he's a horse that we've kept a keen eye on. Obviously, unfortunate that he fell, but back over hurdles, he's won that impressively. So thanks for that, Darragh. Rich, I mean, again, just sort of same question. I thought Hidden Valley Lake won it really well. I know there's a couple in here who have probably got different targets down the line, but I think in terms of going forward, I'd be keeping Hidden Valley Lake on side myself.
Yeah, definitely very impressive. Looking back at his form, he was second to Monty Starr last season, who I think has got quite a good chance in the Browns. So his form was quite strong. Like you say, the owners have got stayers coming out of their ears, haven't they, over the hurdles? They've got Tahupu, Irish Point, and now this lad. They have one in every race and clean up. Yeah, it was a good race. Like you say, there's a lot in there that do have different targets. Like you've got Delta Work, Galvin, cross country. We all know is going to be their main target for the season. Cider Burley was there. We go back to the stayers. Yeah, good performance. I think he was the youngster at 7. I mean, it was against Delta Work, who was 11. Galvin was 10. Cider Burley 12. Beacon Edge 10. Maybe it was passing the baton on to this lad as the next stayer to go forward with.
Yeah, I mean, I really like him. I think, like Darragh said, there, so like the race, he's got plenty of improvement still to come. Joe, your opinion on the race, my friend?
Yeah, 100%. Exactly like you, lads. He was impressive, wasn't he? And when you go back to the Monty Star run, he was giving Monty Star £6, so that looks even better now. He'd probably be one of them that mops up in Ireland. Although it would be nice to see him come over, like you say, with connections and stuff like that. Some horses just get not the unlucky side, but they're not as good as the top. And when you look at Irish Point and Tahupu, they are the top in the staying division. So yeah, I mean he's definitely one to take forward from the race, isn't he? He won it nicely, but we'll obviously see where he ends up next. He might have a target in Ireland, like Darragh said.
Yeah, perfect. I think, like I say, one to keep on side. Fantastic. So the next one we're going to move on to then is another one where I come to you if I can, Darragh. You obviously had a nice second place against a mare that Joe's got in his anti-post team, Brighter Days Ahead. You were on Pastorale, might be able to make pronunciation there for Pimlico. Talk us through being behind Brighter Days Ahead then. What do you think of her and your horse?
Yeah, Pastorale, she ran a lovely race. She was a winner in France, so she's no handicap mark. So she had to step into kind of open company, I suppose. But I've been very impressed with Gordon's mare. I thought she was very good yesterday. I followed her. She seemed to be doing everything very easily and quickened up really well on ground that was, it was proper test. It was very tacky yesterday, Nav, and took plenty of getting, and she seemed to win with a double handful. So I'd say she's definitely the one that you'd be very sweet on heading into Cheltenham next month. But she's looked very impressive. But I thought yesterday now she was the most impressive I've seen her over hurdles. Anyway, I thought she was very good.
I suppose you mentioned there, sort of she quickened away. I mean, do you see the dropping back in trip for the Mare's Hurdle a bit of a hindrance, or do you think she'll be able to handle it? Do you think she's got the speed?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think she's. I actually think it might even benefit her more. I think she's got plenty of pace. She quickened up really well yesterday. On as I said, heavy ground. So and she has one on nicer ground as well. So she ticks plenty of boxes, and connections seem to be full of her. And yes, I don't think that bringing her back into trip will be too much of a hindrance.
That's fantastic. I mean, Joe, come to you. You've got her in your anti-post team for the Mare's Novice Hurdle. I mean, would you agree with that? Were you happy with that performance?
Yeah, 100%. You can't always stick with times, can you? But when you look at the Boyne Hurdle, she was quicker. Obviously, I know race ran a different tempo and stuff, but she was quicker than Irish Point last day, 2 over 2 mile 1. I think that was the same trip again as that race. Yeah, it was. So at times are stronger, and I know she's winning easy. A lot of people saying what's she beating, but at times are stacking up pretty well. She won 2 mile 1 soft ground the last day at Down Royal, and it wasn't that soft. But like Darragh said there, Navin, it looked tacky, it looked heavy, and yeah, she couldn't have won much easier. And she was impressive. She jumped nicely, she travelled nicely. She looks like she's learning a lot every time. I think it's probably the perfect perfect sort of setup into Cheltenham. She ticks every box now. She's won 2 mile yielding on a bumper runs, then won a middle hurdle on soft at Thurles, then went to Down Royal and won on soft ground 2 mile 1, then showed that the step up didn't hinder her on heavy ground. I mean, what more can she do going into Cheltenham? There's not more than that, is there?
No, mate. I mean, I'm on Darcy Enos, and she's sort of similar, where she's not really beaten much, but she's been performing well. But I'll be honest, Rich, I am a little bit worried now looking at that performance. She does look extremely talented. And even though you've got the likes of Jade DeGruzy in there, obviously Darcy Enos, Fun who won the other day, I think she's fairly up there with these mares, don't you think?
If I'm honest with you, I think she wins the Mare's Novice after watching that. I mean, you could not be impressed with her. I mean, she travelled well, jumped well. She barely got out of third gear, did she? She literally just pressed the button and they went, and nobody can keep up with her. Like you say, she's got Dysart Enos is probably the main one for the UK. Obviously,
really.
Yeah. She's got to carry a penalty, hasn't she, versus Dysart Enos, I think. Is that going to be enough?
They've kind of smartly tried to keep Dysart Enos away from any sort of penalties. I think they'll both have to give her a little bit of weight, yeah.
Is that going to be enough? Probably not after watching her win at the weekend. I think the ground will be quite interesting. Like Dysart Enos has won them good, soft, good to soft. Brighter Days Ahead, heavy, soft, yielding. Maybe that could be the only weakness potentially. But no, I think she's quite solid for the Mare's Novice now after watching that.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, mate. I think it's turning into a very, very extremely exciting race, the Mare's Novice Hurdle, and hopefully they all get there and we get the decent race. Right then, moving on to the 10-up novice chase. Obviously, this has thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works for the Brown Advisory, the National Chase, and things like that. I'll come to you if I can, Darragh, get your opinion on it. American Mike obviously won this you could probably say pretty well in the end. Nick Rocket with Paul Townend in behind. What did you make of the contest and how it sort of unfolded?
Yeah, American Mike. To be honest, I thought watching it live, I thought Nick Rocket was going to come and beat him. I'd say American Mike wasn't doing a whole lot in front, and I was actually impressed the way he kind of he seemed to win cozy enough at the end. So yeah, it's he's another horse that the connections hold in high regard. He was good in his beginners at Navan, and then maybe a little bit disappointed back in Leopardstown again. But he really kind of came back to form yesterday, because I thought Nick Rocket was good in his first start or his second start, over fences, and he was probably unlucky not to win the first day as well. And looking at that form, it looked solid enough. So yeah, I thought, look, it was visually probably didn't look impressive, but I'd say on the ground and everything, yeah, I was impressed the way he kind of picked up again from the back of the last. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, well, because I mean, interestingly, that they've got him entered in the Arkle and they've got him entered in the Turners. I think they can supplement him for the Brown Advisory. I think it was mentioned, but not for the National Hunt Chase. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. Nick Rocket obviously is in the National Hunt Chase. I mean, American Mike, based on that performance, would be a massive player, but obviously he can't turn up in that. So Nick Rocket, what do you think of his chances then, and what do you think of the performance from American Mike? Would he throw himself into the Browns if they supplemented him, do you think?
I mean, you'd probably say so now, yeah. American Mike's one that I've liked since his bumper days when he finished second to Facile Vega. It just didn't really work for him on his novice hurdle campaign, but switching to fences over these 3 mile sort of distances just seems to have sparked him into life. The Browns is going to be quite a tasty race. Would he have the quality to beat like a Stay Away Fay sort of factor file if he turns up? I think he could potentially throw up to them, yeah. Nick Rocket, I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest with you. I think he's got a chance in the National Hunt Chase. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think they kind of rode it a little bit like with Manel Kakuna going off in front. Let's sort of see how good Manel Kakuna is, and we'll keep Nick Rocket just in there. And if Manel Kakuna is impressive, then they just need to get Nick Rocket qualified. But Joe, I thought American Mike, he'd come absolutely swinging, turning in, and I thought he was going to go win this pretty well. And he did really, like Darragh said there, kind of went on again once Nick Rocket come up alongside. I think he's an interesting one for Cheltenham if they decide to go there. Nick Rocket, National Chase, I think he'd probably do. He'd be going close, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at that race now. See, Factor Files in there, Stay Away, Fair Grey Dawn in Embassy Gardens, Monty Star. But will Factor File go? We don't know yet. Obviously, Willie mentioned something today, didn't he? A market started changing with the JP runners. American Mike, Gordon's always said he was going to be, a chaser in the making, as they always say. And he has sort of improved, for them fences. Nick Rocket as well. He come fourth. Was it fourth? Yeah, fourth on his chase debut. But he was behind 3-car Bragg, Corbett's Cross and Monty Star. And Emmett Mullins said after Corbett's Cross won that race, it might be a different story next time out. Corbett's Cross story had a run and sort of disappointed in a way. And then he come out and won next time out. And obviously, I don't think he's disgraced himself here. He was ridden out the back. Paul sort of had him out the way, didn't he? A bit, I wouldn't say a learning job, but he's definitely learned his trade on the job. And then, like Darragh said there, I thought he was going to come and pick him up. American Mike stuck his head out well. Obviously, it'll be interesting. It is quite disappointing that American Mike can't go. But, yeah, I think it's hard to really read the form at the minute. But, he's definitely a player if he turns up. But you just don't know at the minute, do you? Willie'll probably send him a champion hurdle or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Willie Bingo going on at the moment, but yeah, it's an interesting one, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they all end up. Right then, so that's what we're doing for now. We're going to move over to Newbury now and just talk about a couple of horses over there. Obviously, the racing was all right. Darragh, if I can, obviously Edward Stone has won the Game Spirit pretty convincingly. I know Boot Hill unfortunately fell, but he weren't really going to get much closer. They're saying obviously Champion Chase. I mean, El Fabiolo. Does he get anywhere near? Do you think he'll just set it up for him?
Yeah, potentially. Looking at it, now he was very impressive the other day in Newbury. Edward Stone was Tom Cannon said he stole out. He rode him very prominently. He jumped fantastic, but I know the other horse fell, but it was going to be a no contest anyway. I I thought he jumped really well. It's probably the first time I've seen Edward Stone and thought that, you know, he might potentially be able to do something like in a champion chase. But, you know, El Fabiola's, you know, he's going to be very hard to beat. You know, he was very impressive again the last day at Leopardstown. But, you know, I suppose Edward Stone, they've tried to up him and trip, and that definitely don't work. So, you know, they'll have to go for the champion chase. And I think he makes it a bit more interesting. I don't think he'll beat El Fabiola, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him finishing, you know, in the first three either. You know, obviously John Bon has the beatings of Edward Stone, but you'd wonder would his race the last day take more out of him than they might have hoped. So yeah, I think Edward Stone's an interesting runner, and I could definitely be seeing him being the first three.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, John Bon obviously had that really tough race last time out. I won't mention it too much for Rich. He let down his little accumulator, but that was quite a funny thing. But yeah, I think John Bon's obviously beaten Edward Stone a couple of times, but like you say there, had a tough race. Edward Stone, I was impressed by the way they just bounced him out, kept it simple, and he jumped at some really good speed, I thought, and that could be something there. Maybe thinking of getting El Fabiola undone, maybe. Joe, I mean, you've got El Fabiola in your team. Obviously, he's had been suspect to the odd mistake every now and then as El Fabiola, but even though he's looked really impressive so far this season. Edward Stone off the front, what do you think? Are you worried?
No, mate, not at all. I mean, I think it just shows, doesn't it, at the start of the season, they wanted to step him up. Obviously, bombed out the champion chase last year. And to be fair, obviously, a lot of people say he doesn't like the ground, but he's won nicely there on heavy ground. But, it's a grade 2 at Newbury at the end of the day. El Fabiolo's done it at the top level, hasn't he? He just looks like he's improving. I can't see it being a problem. I mean, the horses that have come behind, I'm not saying they're horrendous, but, El Fabiolo do that, if not better. So, yeah, I'm not worried at all, mate. I think El Fabiolo's had the perfect prep, and I don't think he'll have lost any sleep.
That's fair enough. Rich, Edward Stone, what did you think? I thought Butler was running a decent race, even though he fell luckily up and fine. But, yeah, Edward Stone impressive, not wanting it off the front.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, looking back now, he's the obvious choice, wasn't he? I mean, he finished 2 3/4 lengths behind John Bon, who's rated 170. He was rated 162, I think, taking on horses that are 145 to 158. I mean, he had every right to put on performance against those lot. I can see him getting third, but I don't think anywhere near John Bon and El Fabio in the champion chase.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, it's going to be very tough for them to get anywhere near El Fabiolo. Like I say, we're all massive fans of him, so let's see if they can put up a fight. Right then, so the Denman Chase is the next one. Obviously, Shishkin, Darragh, come to you again if I can. Obviously, finally gets a decent win under his belt after refusing to race and then falling in the King George. Hitman's run a massive race there, Rich, hasn't he, in second. But, yeah, Shishkin, I mean, you've got Galopin Deschamps at the top of the Gold Cup market. Shishkin flying the flag for the UK. Has he got any chance? What do you think of the performance?
Shishkin, yeah, obviously it was nice to see him, obviously, get a good prize like that after what happened in the King George. I thought he would have won the King George if he hadn't have got rid of Nico. But, again, I don't think the Galopin Deschamps camp would be losing any sleep over it. Look, he's a good, solid horse. I think he only does what he has to. But I'm not sure I trust him either. On his day he's very good, and as I said, like the Gold Cup start will be different as well. What I mean? There'll be a lot more happening and stuff, and might be more runners as well. So that'll be interesting. Obviously only had the 5 runners the other day. He's beaten Hitman. 4 1/4 lengths. Hitman probably didn't really see out the trip. It looked too out that he was going to give him something to think about, but probably didn't get home. So yeah, I think Shishkin, he's probably him and Brave Man's Game, I suppose, are the best of the English for the Gold Cup division. But I think the Irish again are going to be stronger with Galopin Deschamps, faster, slow in there. Even Gentleman's Game as well. So yeah, I think Shishkin again, he could be placed in the Gold Cup, but I couldn't see him winning it at the same time.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. I think we spoke about it many times today with Shishkin, and he's bombed out a couple of times now at Cheltenham. Like I say, a tougher race, more runners. Rich, I come to you, mate. you're obviously a big fan of Braveman's Game, but I think Shishkin, I think it's going to be tough for him. But it's nice to see him get the win under the belt. I think it's more of a decent run from Hitman. We know he don't really stay the 2 mile 7, but I thought he run quite well.
Yeah, it was good to see Shishkin get back to the winning enclosure. Like you say, I think he'd have won or at least come second in the King George. I think that was a good run. It was good to see. He set off quite well. He jumped fairly decent. Like you say, Nico kind of had to push him out from 2 out when Hitman looked like he was coming to challenge. It's going to be tough to get close to the Irish lot in the Gold Cup. I'd be potentially fancy taking on like a Braveman's Game to beat Shishkin in the Gold Cup sort of market. Try and take that sort of angle, maybe. But yeah, like I say, Hitman was a great one. Dropping back to the Ryanair, I think that's an ideal prep. And you never know, James, you might actually get your Hitman win.
Yeah, obviously we'll have to joke about it, but it would be hilarious if he did win. Joe Shishkin, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, it was nice to see, wasn't it? But the form's unbelievable. Protectorate's been disappointing this season, as is Hitman as well. I just think, he was probably entitled to go and win that. But, I'm not going to spend too much time on exactly what Darragh said again. I don't think the Irish will lose any sleep over that whatsoever. Galloping Deschamps seems unstoppable when he's in the form he is at the minute. So, to be fair, I think it's going to be an Irish 1-2, faster, slow, and Galloping Deschamps.
Yeah, I think the Irish are a very hard, tough nut to crack, I think. And I think it's in their court, to be fair. Right then, so that's sort of it for the weekend. I weren't going to mention the Betfair hurdle because my heart's absolutely broke. So obviously, I put up the Skelton runner who comes second at a big prize. But we'll give a special mention to as is Making Headway. Obviously, won that the first race with a brilliant performance. So big ups to the Greenhorn Guerrero team. We're obviously going to visit them soon. So massive congratulations to them on winning that race with Making Headway. It looks a very nice horse going forward. Right, if I can then, Darren, I'm just going to come to you. I'm just going to throw a couple of your rides at you and just get your sort of opinion on them, maybe where you maybe think they might go and things like that. And the first one I have to start with is obviously Gentleman's Game. You actually rode him to beat Rich's beloved Braveman's Game. And I wanted to ask you, just how easy was it beating Braveman's Game? It looked so easy for you.
Well, I wouldn't say it was that easy now, but look, he's a lovely horse to be riding. He's a very good horse. I think people forget that was only his third run over fences that day in Wetherby, and I thought it rode like a good race. Went a good gallop, and we picked up well in the straight as well. And obviously Braveman's Game missed the last, but who knows what would have happened if he jumped it well. But we were delighted with our lads. Obviously trained by a great man and Mouse Morris, and he's in good form at the minute. I gave him a bit of work on Saturday. He feels great, so it's going to be all systems go, hopefully, for the Gold Cup. And I think as I said, he very much looking forward to riding him. He's a very good horse, and we still probably don't know how good he is because he's still lightly raced, and hopefully he gets there in one piece.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. Obviously we've not seen him since, but it's nice to hear that he's coming on along well, and you're doing a bit of work with him. You're not got any sort of worries with him going straight into a Gold Cup after only a few runs.
No, he's in touch wood. He's a good sound jumper, and as I said, he Braveman's Game. Everybody will be talking about how good of a jumper he was, and we were able to match him down the back straight in Wetherby, and even up the straight as well. So obviously it's going to be a step up again in the Gold Cup, but that's where we are. That's where everybody is with him now, and there's no other options. So I suppose he's going into the deep end a little bit, but we're hopeful that he'll be able to hold his own, and as I said, hopefully he gets there, and everybody's happy with him at the minute. He's in good nick. So very much looking forward to it.
Fantastic. That could be a nice little each way play there, lads, for Gentleman's Game. Lovely. So the next one, I will obviously mention Hidden Valley Lake already. You said about him. Mascada obviously won the mares. What did it? I forgot what she won last year now. My mind's gone blank. You won on her at Cheltenham last year. Obviously, she's not fully performed to a higher level, would you say, this season? Or what are your thoughts on how she's coming along?
Yeah, she won the Grand Annual at Cheltenham last year.
Sorry,
She was
yeah.
good. She was good, and obviously Dinah Blue was in there as well. But she made two very bad mistakes at the second last of the last fence, which didn't help her cause anyway. But Mascati, yeah, she started off this year in Clonmel behind Allegory, Devassi, and Ante. I think that race was 2.5 on heavy ground. It was her first run, and probably didn't quite get home that day and got a bit tired as well. And then she went to the Hilly Way, and she ran well against El Fabiolo and Phil Dore. She wasn't beaten that far. And the other day, maybe like we're kind of, she's one that's probably be more suited to not making the running, but she needs a fast pace as well. So she hasn't really gotten, I think, her conditions to suit her since Cheltenham last year. But look, hopefully now she'll go back to Cheltenham again, I think, for the Grand Annual. And we know she acts on the track. And yeah, as I said, hopefully, she's been a good servant now to the Merrigas since they got her. And she's loads of black type and everything. So yeah, look, hopefully she'll be able to go back to Cheltenham and run a good solid race again.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Like I say, there she don't know anybody anything, and she's still running to a high level. To be fair, in behind some really nice horses, so fingers crossed she can keep going and go take a chance there. Another one I'd like to mention, if I can, is a horse I actually tipped up the other day, and you gave this horse an absolute peach of a ride. I'm not going to lie, I thought it was fantastic. Mighty Jeremy. Over at Fairy House. I mean, just talk me through what your thoughts process through that race. I mean, I thought you rode him to sleep from the front, personally. Brilliant.
Mighty Jeremy, yeah, he's funny one. He wears a hood, and he's actually, he's, in fairness to his trainer Liam O'Brien, he's did a good job with him. But I've rode him a couple of times, and he's normally dropped in and stuff like that. But I thought one day I dropped him in Fairy House actually as well. And when you kind of drop him in, he kind of goes to sleep altogether. And but he's a good stayer, so and I dropped him in that day in Fairy House. They went steady and they kind of sprinted, and I couldn't get him going. It was too late in, and he stayed on. So yeah, he got a cut that day, so he was missing for a while. And then I rode him in Nav, and he ran well to a point. He got a bit tired, but the other day in Fairy House, then I looked through the race, I didn't see a whole lot of pace in it. So I said to Liam that if we got to the start and there was nobody wanting to make it, that I was gonna happy enough to let him lob away in front. And yeah, he acts well on heavy ground, and it was the inside track in Fairy House, which can get pretty heavy. But yeah, he handled the ground well. He quickened up well, and he was probably back down to a winnable mark as well, which is a help. But yeah, nice to get another win with him.
Yeah, it was lovely. I thought the second last was probably a really nice jump. You absolutely winged it. I thought it was fantastic. So well done on that one, and thank you very much, I'll say. Another one then, obviously the Dublin Racing Festival was a massive weekend. You had a fair few rides over there, and you've won one with a big one at a massive price, Lord Erskine, should I say. How did that feel winning at the DRF? Obviously, we don't know what the experience is like. We've not been yet, but let us know what it's like.
Yeah, it's the DRF is like it's the equivalent to Cheltenham, really. It's but it's only 2 days, and you've the best of the best there. Like it's this brilliant festival to see all the like Willie's novice hurdlers taking each other on, the juveniles, the novice chasers, everything. The bumper horses, they're all into one, and I suppose the cream comes to the top then. But it's great to be part of it. It's great to have a few rides there, and it was nice to win a nice pot like that for Harry Rogers as well at 40-1. I'd say people have given no chance looking at it, but yeah, it's great to show people that a small trainer can turn up at a festival and get the job done as well.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Like I say, it's great to see when you see horses like that running and winning at a big price. We certainly love it. And then the other one I was going to mention is Indiana Jones is a horse that I've backed a few times. Have you got any sort of thoughts on him, where he might go next?
Yeah, Indiana Jones, he went, he actually ran well in Cork, his first start this year, just got a bit tired on the day, and then he went to Exeter, and, we were, ran okay in Exeter. He was beaten 5 or 6 lengths, but looking back at the form now, we're probably, it's probably enhanced a little bit with the winner of that race, Joe Tizard's horse, obviously beating John Bon and Editor De Jeet, and so yeah, it looks a good solid race now, and I think he was only beaten 6 lengths that day. So and I think we were given the winner £7 or £8 as well, with the claim and that taken off the other horse. So that looked a good solid run, and then he ran the other day in Leopardstown over 2.5, and I'd say he probably didn't stay, and he's a horse that for a big horse he likes a bit of nice ground. So not sure what the plan would be for him. Maybe something like the Grand Annual at Cheltenham as well could be an option for him. His best form seems to be over the minimum 2 miles. He obviously beat he won a 1-2 chase on him last year. He beat Flamebearer in Navan in a good novice chase there. So look, he's a good solid horse. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'd say he'll be one for the spring festivals coming up now.
Fantastic. And there's just one more then. What I will get, obviously, just as a horse you've ridden and a horse that I've got in my team, and it's Tehupu. You've obviously ridden him before. This horse, obviously, he won the race last time. He's been kept fresh for it. Do you think that's going to be all right for him? And do you know? Have you seen him? Have you worked with him and anything? How's he doing? Do you know?
Yeah. I said I just got a spare riding him that day when I rode him in Punchestown. So I don't go into gardens or anything, but look, you'd have to be impressed what he's done this year, and I was very impressed with him last year as well. Winning obviously the Hatton's Grace, beating Honeysuckle, and he went on to Gordon and was very impressive. I was a little bit disappointed that he got beaten the World Hurdle last year. I thought he was close enough if he was good enough turning in, and I don't know, he just got outstayed or something. So they're obviously after changing route now this year, and just gone from the Hatton's Grace to the stairs. So look, I hope he's obviously he's the one they'll all have to beat if he turns up again, and he's after improving. So yeah, as I said, the only thing I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't win it last year. I thought he was close enough if he was good enough, and but yeah, as I said, he's a year older now, so if he improves a little bit, he'll be hard to beat in the day, I suppose.
Just a little question, sorry you nip in there. Darragh, what do you think? Do you think Irish Point will head there too, or do you think they'll, split them up, or what?
Yeah, I suppose Irish Point, I'd like, obviously he went up to 3 miles at Leopardstown at Christmas, but they went very steady that day in Leopardstown. So I suppose to be hard to say that he really did stay on the day, but he's a horse that looks like he races nice and relaxed. He jumps well. I'd say after that performance, they'd have to nearly roll the dice and run a minute. But obviously he would have the option of going to Liverpool, or you have Fairy House at Easter and Punchestown as well. So it'd be interesting to see what to do with him. You couldn't see him coming back to 2 miles or anything like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and I think he's one that I thought he was very impressive at Leopardstown at Christmas, albeit it wasn't really a true run race, but I thought he couldn't have looked any more impressive on the day.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Fantastic. Rich, you got anything? Any questions or anything before we move on?
No, you covered everything.
Fantastic. Right, cheers for that, Darragh. Like I say, massively appreciate your opinions there. So the next sort of segment, what we normally do is we kind of ask our guests for maybe 1 or 2 horses to follow, or horses that you maybe, like you say, you're maybe riding now, or you're going to ride yourself over the next couple of months that we should keep an eye out for. Do you have 2 for us, or a couple, or one?
I think we haven't seen the best of Gentleman's Game yet. He's a horse. I think I think there's plenty of nice races to be won with him. I think if Mouse Morris, he's very happy with him at home, and he's a brilliant man to get a horse 2 a day and train him for a day. So obviously Gallop and the Champs will be he'll be hard not to crack in the Gold Cup, and I think he'll be very hard to beat if he's in any kind of form that he's shown his last 2 runs. But I think Gentleman's Game, I think really looking forward to him. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the mix with him at Cheltenham in the Gold Cup if he gets there in one piece.
Fantastic, love it. That'll do me. So we'll all steam on each way, and hope it runs well. Like I say, we'll get extra places probably. So it's definitely a bet to nothing, 100%. And he does have that little bit of an unknown to him into where his ceiling is, which is obviously what you kind of want going into a Gold Cup. So fingers crossed he runs well for you guys in the team. Love it. Thanks for that, Darragh. Unless you've got any more, or is that the only one?
That's kind of it. Yeah. I can't think off the top of my head now what else we.
Always put them on the spot. So
yeah, as I said, hopefully pick up a couple of spares along the way.
Well, hopefully you don't win on some massive price tomorrow then, and you forgot to have told us. But we'll look anyway.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, brilliant. So what we normally do next is then we've got our next additions to our teams, and so we'll go around if we can, and then we'll finish on you, Darragh, if you've got a little bit of a dart for us for Cheltenham. I mean, you can't pick Gentleman's Game this time either. I'll make you think of something else, but if you've got one. Right then, boys. So obviously, Rich, I'm going to let you kick us off tonight. Your team's obviously going well. Not really. You've obviously been very unlucky lately. I'm just going to let you... The floor is yours, mate. Take it away. Say whatever you want to say, mate.
Yeah, my team's going backwards, I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, I'm going to throw a dart at the National Hunt Chase, I think. You know, what are we, 4 weeks out? It's getting very tricky to try and find a bit of value, I think. So I'm hoping I've got a little bit here. National Hunt Chase, Flooring Porter is going to be my pick this week. I think I read somewhere that Gavin Cromwell is fancying this over the Stayers. So fingers crossed that tomorrow he doesn't announce that Stayers is going to be his preferred route, because that's what normally happens.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I'll laugh if he just ends up back at Stayers.
Hey, you never know the way it's going.
The Rich touch is there again.
But, you know, yeah, like I say, he's got the Cheltenham experience. He's a dual Stayers hurdle winner. He won very impressively, I thought, on his chase debut at Cheltenham over 3 miles against a horse that I like in Broadway Boy. Yeah, Broadway Boy had to give him £5, but I just thought he jumped well, handles the track. You know, very impressive. Obviously, next time out going the other way around didn't really suit him, but I thought he still ran fairly well to finish third. And then at Christmas, he finished third at Leopardstown against Grange Clare West, was one of the favourites for the Browns. Unfortunately, he's out. You've got Corbett's Cross, who potentially was up there for this race. Then he obviously fell, was it a couple of weeks back? So again, there's probably a question mark over him. But yeah, I just think Flooring Porter, I think Betfair's best price at 10s. I think he's 7s everywhere else. So I think each way, I think he's got a good chance of getting into the places at least. So fingers crossed, that is the plan to go here with him. And yeah, we'll go with that.
No, what I normally do is, Darragh, I sort of ask the guests their opinion on the picks. I mean, when Rich puts a selection up, the guest normally tells us it's got absolutely no chance. And it normally happens quite quickly. So do you think Flooring Porter's got a chance in the National Chase?
Yeah, I suppose looking, you know, obviously his form around Cheltenham is, you know, after winning 2 Stayers hurdles is very good. You know, I think the National Hunt Chase could be it could be a very good race this year. You know, with you know, Embassy Garden could go there. Corbett's Cross as well. Obviously, you know, with Derek O'Connor riding him the other day, it looked like that maybe that was the plan for him. But you know, maybe that could change now after you know, him falling or whatnot. But yeah, Flooring Porter. I definitely think it would be the race for him to run in anyway. You know, I suppose I thought he ran better. I thought he still ran a good race on Punchestown that day, going right-handed, and but you know, obviously all his best form is left-handed. So he's a horse that, you know, has been to Cheltenham. He's acted around there, but yeah, I think he'd have an each-way chance. But I think there just might be a couple of you know, an Embassy Gardens or Corbett's Cross that might be just a little bit, you know, more unexposed, a little bit classier than him nowadays. So yeah, but it's a good race, I think.
I'll take that an each way chance. That'll do me.
You'll just be happy with a runner, Rich. Just happy when he turns up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. There might just be one a little bit classy in him, but he's got the experience at Cheltenham. You never know. Fantastic, Rich. Love it. So go on then, Joe. I'll let you go next, and then I'll go. Then we'll finish on Darragh. Who are you adding to your Week 14 team?
My Week 14 pick is going to be Grey Dawning in the Brown Advisory Now, looking through his form, I was always I didn't know if he'd get this type of trip or anything like that. But for me, he's just improved this season. I mean, he was at Cheltenham in December and he got beat by Ginny's Destiny. If you watched or remember that race, Harry Skelton absolutely Grey Dawning, it wasn't Harry's fault really. He absolutely hammered the second out and he rattled home. He was giving Ginny's Destiny £3 that day. Ginny's Destiny's now rated 147 and I believe he is second favourite to Fact to File in the Turners at 11-4. Obviously, he was giving him weight, and then he looked just as good as Warwick up in trip. I know he beat Apple away. The form is questionable, but he put Broadway Boy in his place, and he put the Changing Man in his place too. And I just think Stay Away Fair. I do really like Stay Away Fair, but I just think Grey Dawning has that bit more speed, and I just feel like the way he hit that flat spot, I just can't seem to have him, and I just think 9-2. For Grey Dawning at the minute, we know he's going. We know how good the Skeltons can be, and we don't know where the others are heading at the moment, do we? I know we've had the talk of Fact to File and horses like that. One's going to turn up, but a couple of others ain't. And I think 9-2 will be a lot shorter. I can't really see why the distance between Stay Away Fair and this horse is so big. To be totally honest, not so big, but I just. Form's just as good. I know Stay Away Fair beat Giovinco, but when you do look back at Giovinco's form, is it that great? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just can't seem to have Stay Away Fair at that price, to be honest. I know you're on him at a bigger price, so I wouldn't be worried for you. But for me, I couldn't take him at that short price.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously on Stay Away Fair. I would probably say I prefer the form that he's got in and around the likes of Capodanno, Real Whacker, them sort of horses, rather than beating Apple away, the Changing Man, who probably I don't think are really that good for that level. But it's one of them. Which way do you take it? I mean, Darragh, what you're thinking on sort of Grey Dawning, the Brown Advisory picture, those sort of horses?
Yeah, obviously, I think if Fact to File if Fact to File runs in the Turners, I think Grey Dawn will be a lot shorter than 92 on the day. And I'd be surprised if Fact to File actually ran in this. He looks to jump really well and, he doesn't seem to be lax of gear either. So I'd be surprised if he ran in the Brown Advisory. I thought he looks like the way he jumped and travelled in Leopardstown that you'd nearly come back and trip with him. Stay Away Faye, obviously he ran well the last day in open company against Capodanno and the Real Whacker, but it was a strange old race to watch. They seemed to go quick early and then steadied it up. But yeah, I thought the Grey Dawning, I thought he was really good the last day. I think he's a strong traveller, and Warwick, like he just, he put Apple away to bed fairly quickly. Winning by 14 lengths. He was unlucky not to win at Cheltenham. Obviously, he was lucky that he didn't fall. Thought he was impressive. I thought he was impressive one day as well in that graduation chase at Haydock beating Gala de Menil. Gala de Menil is he's after winning a few Grade 1s. So yeah, I think at the prices I'd be siding to back Grey Dawning as well. I think if Fact to File if it isn't in the betting on the day, I'd say Grey Dawning will go off a lot shorter than 92.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I mean, we've obviously got a little bit of a running commentary with another JP horse that we're hoping for the Turners, but it's looking much more likely that Fact to File is going to end up in the Turners. So I think you're probably onto. You definitely got the value. I think, Jokes. I think I agree with you both. It will definitely shorten. I think most of them will shorten. So yeah, fingers crossed for you, mate. But not too much because I'm obviously on Stay Away Fair. We shall see. Right then, so we'll go on to my pick. My team's not looking too bad. Obviously, it's quite tough at the moment. We're trying to find these races that we can get involved in, but there's a race that I'm not involved in yet, and that's the cross country. Now, I let Rich take a first dart at it, and his looks like it's in the bin already. He went with Conflated, didn't you, Rich? And it's looking like
Gordon said he was flying the best thing he's seen over the cross country course. So
yeah, I just wanted a bigger price at Ryanair, pal. You got to think outside the box. Anyway. So I'm going to take a punt on the Delta Work. I'm going to go for. He's 5-1 currently. with William Hill. I'm going to back him probably each way because I think it's a very short. I think it's basically a 2-horse race. He's won the last 2 runnings of it, and I just think he's been primed for a third or crack at a winning 3. I think obviously done it with Tiger Roll, and I think he's just going to suit him down to the ground. He's kind of taking a similar route to the last couple of years. He had a reappearance, obviously got beat by Manila Indo, but I think Manila Indo goes pretty well fresh. I mean, I think, Darragh, you've rode Manila Indo. You rode him against Jerry Colombe, I believe, so I might get your opinion on him in a second in the Ladbrokes Chase. And then he's come 6th at the November meeting, but he always finds it tough in that race. Obviously got to give lumps of weight away. And then again on the weekend, he's come 6th in the Boyne Hurdle, same as last year. Again, behind Darrah's ride, Hidden Valley Lake. And I just think, to me, he's kind of been prepped for it. I think if you go through the field, I probably would have Manila Indo as a danger. He obviously looked impressive last time. He's obviously taking to it. Galvin, I can't have him reversing the form of last year's run. Conflated, obviously, I don't think it's going to go here in the end. Noble Yeats is in here. He's the stayers heard. I know Coco Beach won the other day. I don't know whether he's going to end up going for this. I don't know. He might do. But again, I just think the main one for Elliott is going to be Delta Work to go win a 3. I think he likes to build up this bit of history. He's done it with Tiger Roll in the past. I think he's going to be primed to do it again. So yeah, I'm going to stick with. I'm going to go for Delta Work at the price. I think he's got a great chance. And I'll in Darragh, I mean, obviously you've ridden in quite a few of these cross countries, over these banks. I mean, first question is sort of what's it like in terms of compared to a normal race, and do you think Delta Work's got a chance of going back and doing it again?
Yeah, the cross country race, they're a great thrill to ride. Cheltenham, it's good fun. As I said, it's kind of, it's a great race to be part of. Obviously you have mostly hedges in Cheltenham, and you have the bank in the middle, but yeah, plenty twisting and turning, and it's a great race to ride in. It's a great race to watch as well. And look, Delta Work has his chance. He's obviously been there. He's won the race before. But I'd be sweet on Manila Indo. I thought he was run there. Back in December time was. I thought that was a very good run, carrying 12 stone. Like I was just looking, the winner 10-8, the second at 10-2, the third at 10-2, and Manila Indo was 4th, beating 5 3/4 lengths, and he 12 stone. He's back, and he was it was his first time over them, so he had learned an awful lot. I think he'll come on again from that, and obviously Delta Work and Galvin are going to be they're going to be primed for this, but I don't think Conflated will run in this. So I'd be sweet on Manila Indo. I think Delta Work has a chance. Obviously, he obviously acts well around the track, and he's a good record in the race as well. But I think Manila Indo. I think he could be hard to beat in this.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It's going to be tough. I think it is between them two. I think I'm taking the each way on Delta Work, but I think Manila Indo is. I mean, it's becoming a classy race with these former Gold Cup horses staying up in this cross country. I do love to see it. So hopefully they all get there and that we have a decent spectacle. Love it. Right, Darragh, I'm going to come to you then to finish us off. Have you got an anti-post selection for us? You can tell us 1 or 2, as many as you want, but have you got a dart for us?
I tell you, a horse I really like, and I thought he ran a good race at the DRF. Is a horse, Slade Steel. I think if they run Ballyburn in the Supreme, I think Slade Steel could go off in their favour for that Bearing Bingham Novice Hurdle. Now was at the 2-5 race. I thought Slade Steel ran very well in the DRF. I think he's a horse that will probably be better suited to the 2-5 race, and just looking here, is he 4-4 to 192? I think if Ballyburn goes to the Supreme, I think he could go off in their favour for this race, and I think he'll have a big chance. So I'd be hoping Ballyburn would go for the Supreme, obviously because he looked visually very impressive at the DRF.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Slade Steel, I think he's a big chance in Cheltenham. In that Bearing Bingham Novice Hurdle, Ballyburn Novice Supreme.
Well, I love that pick because I put him up last week for any. Well, I put him up last week for any race, as you mentioned there. Ballyburn was so impressive, and I just thought whichever way if he wins the race, you're taking Sladesteel whichever way he doesn't go, because you're
Yeah.
probably not going to reoppose him again over 2 mile. And I agree with you. I think the 2 mile 5, barring Bingham, whatever it's called now, the Ballymore, I think it'll suit him down to the ground. So I think that's a great pick, mate. Fantastic. Right, guys, that's it. Another good week, another one sewn up. So again, like I normally do, Darragh, thank you very much for giving us your time. We really do appreciate you. You've been fantastic. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yes, lovely. Thanks a million. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. And lads, have you got anything else left to say before we get off?
Thanks once again for coming on, Darragh. Really appreciate it. Obviously, you've got to listen to us three for rattle on for a bit, but no, it is nice to get another guest on who knows what they're talking about. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just class, just to get another guest on, another person who knows what they're talking about. So yeah, very good.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have you back on again in the near future. And obviously, good luck with all your rides over the next few weeks. And if you get a few rides at Cheltenham as well, I wish you all the best for them as well. And as always, thank you everybody for watching. We do appreciate it. If you can like and subscribe to the channel. We're over 500 subscribers now, so we're growing quite quickly. So thank you again for the support. Follow us all on Twitter and things like that, and keep supporting us. And we're back again on Thursday for another preview. Thanks again, Darragh. Wish you all the best of luck. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you and goodbye.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yep.